afternoon. Not sure how I got to be last. I'm not sure if it's a good or bad thing. You can tell me after I'm done. Now, I may not know I'm a rock star, but I will tell you this. Am I allowed to say this? The working title of this conference was a little different. At the very beginning, when Noelle asked me to participate, it was actually termed, I believe, Badass Women for Jesus. So I had the perfect pair of rock star pants, and I was not going to leave these in my drawer today. So as Noelle mentioned, I grew up in Kenmore. And, okay, we have cheers. If you know anything about Kenmore, you usually don't get cheers when you mention Kenmore. In fact, I feel like people who grew up in Kenmore are kind of a scrappy bunch. You know, we feel like we have to work this much harder to get what everyone else has. And, you know, with that comes this kind of chip that we have on our shoulders. Not sure if it's a righteous chip or not, but it's something I've carried with me through my whole life. But the thing I worked hardest at when I lived in Kenmore was getting out of Kenmore. Let's be real, right? I mean, 18 years, I grew up in Kenmore. And I thought, man, if I could just go to the private school, or if I could just move over to the Firestone neighborhood, you know, things would be better. And in doing so, I realized what I was really searching for was this missing, how do I put this? This missing component in my soul, right? You know, I knew who Jesus was. I'd grown up in a Christian home, but you know, it wasn't enough for the snotty-nosed kid that was going to, you know, give you one of these if you said anything bad about me, you know. So fast forward, I got out of Kenmore, went to a good school, hung around the good people, watched them all go off to Vail on Christmas break while I went to Rolling Acres Mall. It's a little weird, I have to admit. Didn't resonate with me, but, you know, that's for another day. But after I graduated, several jobs later, I should say, as Noelle mentioned, I got a job at a place called Akron Community Foundation. And I'm not sure what you know about Akron Community Foundation, but it's kind of the ultimate board in town, right? You know, you've got your hospital boards, and those pay money, and you've got some, you know, smaller nonprofit boards, but ACF was like the board to be on, right? These are the doctors, the lawyers, the entrepreneurs, the wives of all of said people. And I was like, yeah, I've made it, right? So I always felt, though, you know, there's that little fighter Kenmore kid in me that always felt like, you know, I had to do something a little bit more to prove myself, right? So, you know, this did not change when I entered ACF, and I didn't feel like I had done enough there. You know, I kind of was always on the periphery, and, you know, I knew the right people, but what was I really doing, right? Well, I got my chance to prove myself. We got a new CEO back in 2007 or 8, and we embarked on a strategic plan. And those magic words of everything's changing, and some people hate them. I love them. I love change. So I thought, okay, you know, now's my time, right? The strategic plan was all about branding, marketing and branding, right? It was all about, you know, how do we get people to pay attention to us? I can get people to pay attention to me. I can surely do it for the Community Foundation. So, you know, I worked really, really hard. Right, so that's something that was built into me as part of, you know, my Kenmore spirit was, you know, work hard, work a little bit harder than the other person, and I did. And I worked so hard that I started to get attention, and I got attention from people that I didn't even realize knew my name. In fact, I know this is being recorded, hopefully no one sees it, but I've heard rumblings that I've been talked about in executive sessions, of board meetings, you know, maybe this could be our next CEO if John ever retires, you know, those kind of things. And yeah, but there's something about that still was hollow and unfulfilling, because even hearing those words, I didn't believe it about myself. So, you know, let's put this aside for a minute. I'll give you a little breakdown on where I was about 16 months ago before I really met Noelle. My family and I, we lived in Wadsworth. You know, I've seen some Wadsworth people in here. Safe community. A lot of houses that look the same. You know, nice little neighborhood with a pool and a key card. So when your kids want to go swimming, they can see all of their friends. The thing that I never had growing up in Kenmore, right? You know, lights go down, you're in the house. And I have to admit, it was pretty awesome. But something in me just never felt fulfilled in that. I always felt this uneasiness of, this is great, God. It's all good on paper. My kids are safe. They go to a great school. We've got great neighbors and great friends. Why do I feel like I shouldn't be here? So God was clearly stirring something in me during this time. So I confided in my friend, who happened to be my pastor's wife. I kind of grabbed her in between first and second service one day. I said, hey, Hillary, I feel like I have to tell someone this. I know I can't tell my husband because he's a suburban guy. He loves being in the suburbs. My kids are happy. Everything seems great on paper, but I feel like I'm not supposed to be here. And it just sounded weird coming out. She agreed to pray for me, and, we'd see each other here and there. How's it going? Well, same, And, life went on. In the meantime, my up-and-comer status at the Community Foundation, I got nominated for Leadership Akron. And that was exciting to me because, again, something new. Like, I'd love to shake it up, right? Okay, I get to be in this group of people where, the movers and the up-and-comers, the movers and shakers, we're connecting. I love connecting. Love people, love them too much. Ask Alicia, I talk way too much after church. But I love the whole concept of bringing people together, right? That's something that's built in me. And, Hannah, I love what you said, being too much or too little of something. I always felt like that was kind of a bad thing, right? Like, I liked people way too much. But God was using that. I just didn't realize how yet. So, I get, and part of Leadership Akron is, you have to fill out an application, obviously. And I had a really strange moment. So I'm filling out, some of the things about me and, what I want to get out of it. And I felt like God was telling me, you have to make a decision right now. Is this going to be about what everyone else says it's about? Climbing the corporate ladder, finding what great corporate or nonprofit boards you want to be on, impressing certain people who can get you another job someday? Or is this going to be about me? So, I'm a thinker, but I also make very quick decisions. And I said, thankfully, God, this is about you. Filled out the application, sent it in, gave it to my boss, whatever. So in the interim, we have to do an interview. And I'm not sure who you interviewed with, Noelle, but I interviewed with the development director at Children's Hospital. And I will never forget the day. I had like 50 deadlines going on. It was just crazy chaos. And I am ruled by my Outlook calendar. I don't know about anyone else. If I don't get a 15-minute reminder, I'm not showing up. So apparently I had maybe ignored my reminder, and I realized in 5 minutes I had my Leadership Akron interview with the Chief Development Officer at Children's Hospital. And I get out to my car, and there's this rich elderly man parked immediately behind me. I could not get out, and I thought, oh my gosh, God, what did I do? I've completely screwed this up. So quick phone call to her. She's like, okay, get here when you can. Get there, and I was just unraveled. And this is something about me. I like to think. I like to think about what I'm going to say, not because I'm like way too detail-oriented, just I'm a processor, right? So I get in Children's Hospital. I didn't even park in the deck. I parked right outside, did not put money in the meter because I hadn't. I'm like, oh, jeez, I just got to get in there. Lord, please don't give me a ticket. So I run in there. And I'm like, whoa, I'm a spaz. And I sit down in front of this woman, and I'm thinking, oh, gosh, she must think I'm crazy. I'm just going on and on and on. And she asked me a question. And I will never forget, like, I remember actually gasping after it came out of my mouth. She asked me, how do you hope Leadership Akron changes you? And I said, I want to be bold. I want to be Peter, and I want to walk on water, and I want to see Jesus and go straight to him. And I'm like, God, is this woman to believe it? Like, I think she is. We'll see, right? But it just came out, and I was like, whoa. But I mean, let's face it, that's a small step. Like, I didn't, tear off my right arm, hand it to the lady. Like, I was just stating my faith, right? I mean, this shouldn't be a problem, by the way. I'm just saying. But so I poured this thing out, and I'm thinking, okay, we'll see how this goes. Nice to meet you. See you later. So it's something I didn't mention. At this time, back up a few months, my husband, who has a job that forces him to work weekends sometimes, and my chaotic schedule, and 2 kids and sports, and we're crazy, and he decides he wants to go to school to do heating and cooling. I have no idea why. He just wants to do. In fact, I think it was your dad. I'm going to blame Dwayne. So he honestly, like, he saw how things operate in South Street and said, he felt a little inadequate. He said, I want to have a skill. I want a tangible skill that I can give back to the community. That if my neighbor has a problem with their furnace, I can just go over and fix their furnace. I'm thinking, okay, like, do you want to get a job in this? Like, what do you want to do with this? But our schedules are crazy. I'm thinking, why is this man doing it? But I'm thinking, you know what? Like, something's going on here. And I was like, fine, yes, do it. Do what you want to do. So he's in school 5 days a week. I see my kids see him when they go to bed Sunday night. They don't see him again until they get home from school on Friday. It's me and me only, and some help. Trust me, I had some good help from my mother-in-law. But so all this stuff is going on, and I'm going to be in leadership. Well, I'll find out I'm going to be in leadership Akron, and that's going to take me out of pocket. And I got 7:30 board meetings already through work and after work functions. I'm just like, well, how am I going to do this? And I just, I don't know about you guys, but time is like my it's the thing that I cling to, right? My time. I mean, time makes me nervous. Figuring out time makes me nervous. Like, how am I going to get all this done? Calendar, oh my gosh, I can't even look at my calendar on Sunday nights. I just go into hyperventilation mode. But time was the thing I noticed that I was holding on to way too much, because what do you do with your time? You get things done, and I had things I had to get done, and I'm an achiever, and I work harder, and I need my time to get things done. So let's face it, my life is a little chaotic at the time. So meantime, after all this is going on, I dropped my kid off. My child was in safety town at the time, and my pastor's wife's child was in safety town at the time. And she grabbed me, and she goes, hey. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, our friends are planting a church in Kenmore, and we think you should go. Really? You do? Because I'm looking at houses in Highland Square, because that's surely where God wants me to be, not the place I worked so hard to get out of. Yeah. Oh, Lord. There were nights where I was like, nope. I'd either ignore it or say, nope, not doing it. I mean, that was like my Jonah moment, right? I just hoped I didn't get swallowed by a whale. But my husband, it's funny, my husband at the time, despite all this busyness, felt this need to go into Kenmore. He had been going into Kenmore for something called Tattoo Church. I won't elaborate, but Dwayne was a part of that too. I blame Dwayne for all of this. No, it's awesome. But he had been going, we had a great church life, we had a great home life, we had all this stuff going on, and here he wants to spend Sunday nights going to church again upstairs in First Glance in Kenmore. I'm like, okay, fine, do what you want. But I'm thinking, why in the world? What is God doing right now? Like, why is my life in upheaval? Why is my time disappearing more and more and more? So anyway, Hillary tells me this church is getting planted in Kenmore, and I'm thinking, okay, no, but God, maybe yes, right? Do you guys have those moments of like, you're not all in, but you're not necessarily against it? Yeah, so that's kind of where I was. So I get into Leadership Akron, and my first bus trip popped right down next to this lady over here. And if you don't know Noelle very well, she is like Kenmore's chief cheerleader, right? Cheerleader in chief, that's what I call Noelle. And we just started talking, and I'm like, telling her a little bit, we don't know each other well, but giving her a little insight into what's kind of been going on. And she told me about this place. This is my Kenmore that I tried to get out of. This place where people had everything in common. A very biblical principle. Where doors are always open. Where outsiders are welcome. And I think to myself, I remember that scripture. I forget who it was that said about Jesus, what good could come from Nazareth, right? What good could come from Kenmore? Well, I did, and I'm doing all right, right? So I just, that small seed of yes, right? That small little, okay, God, I'm not quite all the way there, but let's see where you're moving. Turned into a shoot of absolutely, or maybe, I should say maybe. I wasn't to absolutely yet, I was to maybe. But I was hungry for the next thing. Because I don't know about you, like when God starts to lead me in these small steps, like I just start to get this anticipatory, like, what is next, God? Like, this is exciting. Like, I don't know where it's going, and I kind of hate not knowing where it's going, but I love it. So, I went home. I did not tell my husband. Well, mind you, and let me back up. So my husband's going to this church thing on Sunday nights, and he gets mad about some little thing that goes wrong in our house. He said, we should just sell this house and move to Kenmore. And I'm like, oh, geez, God, now? Really? Like, now him? Yeah, so was it Kara that said, you need to be hit over the head with things sometimes? Yeah, that's totally me. But God is generous with that, isn't he? He's generous. He meets us right where we are. Some of us, those tender taps on the shoulder are enough. Others of us, it's like big, loud things. I am a big, loud thinker, right? I just thank God that he met me in that place. So anyway, unbeknownst to my husband, I'm like, okay, I've got the maybe in here. I'm going to go on Zillow. And I went in there and I started. There were like maybe half a dozen houses that I wanted to live in. If I had to move to Kenmore, God, these are the 6 houses, right? Put a star next to all of them. And I get the very next day, I get a text from someone, a friend of mine, following up from a text that I had sent her the week earlier. And I kind of just said, hey, I hear Jake and Alicia Lay are planning a church in Kenmore, and I think she volunteers at first glance. I'd just like to get to know her. And this woman came around and said, well, if you want to move back to Kenmore, your old house is for sale. Right. No, definitely not that house. That was not a starred house. And I said, well, and I thought to myself, okay, I've not talked to my husband about this. I know he said, let's just sell this house and move to Kenmore, but that's not what he meant. Am I going to just step out there and say, hey, Karen, if you know of anything, we might be looking. And it took about 5 minutes. I'm like, just say yes. Just do it. What's the worst thing could happen, right? My husband could get mad at me for like an hour. And I don't see him anyway, but this time, right? He's never home, so we're all cool. So I say, Karen, yeah, I think we are interested if you know of anything. And she texted right back, well, this house isn't on the market yet, and it might need some work, but there's this house right up on 6th Street, and I'm telling you, if anyone knows about Kenmore, 6th Street is the road right on top of the hill where you look down and you see the whole city. And I was like, and I looked up the address. It was the first house I'd starred on Zillow. Very first one. Now, I haven't mentioned this. My grandmother lives 3 doors from this house. 95. She's lived there for 42 years by herself. And here comes this house. I'm like, God, I don't want to go to Kenmore. Well, maybe, well, no. And this house. I'm like, God, this is it. And I tell you, I shut my door. I ended up on my knees and I sobbed. Because I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve something like that, and let's just be real. Most people, a house, and I don't even care if it's a 2,700 square foot Tudor, which it is, and it's gorgeous, and I love it. I love historic homes, so it's like, yes. But even that wouldn't be enough for most people to be like, rah, go Kenmore. But I just felt this aching of, daughter, why did you question me? I have this beautiful thing for you. Just take it. So, long story short, saw the house the next day, and I knew this is where God wanted this. I had to convince my husband, mind you, because he's in school and he doesn't want to have anything to do with this now. Especially no more work, right? So we both bought in. I sit down next to Noelle the next time we got on the bus. I think we'd been on the bus together twice, a total of twice. And I sat down next to her. I said, I think we're moving to Kenmore. And you had to have been just like, what? Later, I find out there were some people praying for this, which I'm so thankful and grateful for. But so anyway, we're bought in. We get the house. Our house sells in a month. A month. And Satan kind of swoops in, right? Because what happens? The good thing comes. We're all rah, rah, rah. We got enough time to think. And then it's like, hey, you should be, what about the schools? Your kids go to a great school. Your kids are in an excellent with distinction school. Guess what? Kenmore schools are failing, right? And here I am, an achiever. I'm like, go, get the right, be in the right school, get the right grades, achieve the right stuff. And I'm going to send my kids to a failing school? Well, thankfully, through Leadership Akron, I was able to meet the principal and shadowed her, and I found out that this was the most tender-hearted, loving, gentle, generous school to these kids. I mean, I fell in love with it. So, but my husband, he's got other things going on. He's not quite there yet. And I just remember when my daughter finished her last basketball game down in Wadsworth, and these were the kids, at least my son, he's 7 now. These were the only friends that they knew. They had built these deep relationships with them. And my sweet husband, who had been, not moved around a lot, but had changed schools just enough to where that was an issue for him, right? He wanted his kids to have their friends. And it was breaking his heart that we were making these kids leave this school. And he wouldn't even look at God love him, I get it. He wouldn't even look at their last day pictures. And we walked in after a basketball game to a Bob Evans. And a man came up to us. I kid you not, guys. And this is another, over-the-head moment. We had just gotten our food, and a man walks up and says, you don't know me, and you might think I'm crazy, but God wants you to know something, and I feel I have to be obedient and tell you. Your son, he's going to be a leader. He's going to be a leader, and nothing bad is going to happen to him. I'm paraphrasing, but nothing bad is going to happen to him because of what you folks are doing. Oh, Lord, you are good. And the chills, just even saying that now, the hair stands up the back of my neck. He said, and further, you tell him, God, thank you, sir. This is what we're going through. He says, oh, you're listening. Okay, God wants you to know something else. Your daughter's creative, and she's athletic, and people are going to flock to her. And by the way, both kids, don't even worry about their college, because it's going to get paid for. Okay, we'll see. It's yet to be seen, right? But I'm like, God, you are generous. Even if this isn't happening, maybe this guy's crazy, I don't know. But just the tenderness to put our hearts at ease over something like school, right when we needed it. God, we serve a mighty God. He wants to meet us right where we are. And you might have a small step you want to take. Maybe it's a big step. And let me tell you right now, God is not going to leave you hanging. Look for it. They may be tender taps on the shoulder, or they might be hitting you over the head like me. But he will give them to you. Just be watching. So, now we're in Kenmore. The kids are alive. All good. By the way, Kenmore is not Compton. I hear Kemp say this all the time. Kenmore is not Compton. Kenmore is pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. And now I get to see my kids walk home to my 95-year-old grandmother's house after school. And she gets the joy of seeing them. She doesn't have many years left, but she gets the joy of seeing them grow up. And I get the joy every day of seeing new connections in my life, connections I can bring to bear for Kenmore. God has burdened my heart for Kenmore. You might have another cheerleader, I think, maybe. God has burdened my heart for Kenmore. And I'm realizing every connection he's ever given me through work, through nonprofit stuff, you name it, every single connection he's giving me is bearing fruit now because I'm saying yes. Instead of protecting my time and saying, oh, honey, take care of yourself. And people will tell you this, sisters. They will say, oh, take care of yourself. You're working too hard. But I'm telling you right now, you cannot quench the Spirit. If the Spirit has something for you to do, the Spirit will fill you to outpouring. Not just, it's not for you. It's to come out. It's to come out. And I'm just so thankful that he's using us in this way. And I don't know where it's going, but I'll tell you what. I am working every day for this stuff. I am tired, but I'm not weary. I'm telling you, that is the best feeling. When you're exhausted and you feel like you have nothing left, but God meets you right there and gives you exactly what you need to take that next step. And I just want to read some scripture from Isaiah, starting in verse 28. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He is not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength. Even youth shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted, but they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and will not faint. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for that promise. And I am a walking, living testimony of that. I might fall asleep in my kid's bed at 8:30 when I lay down and read a story with him, but I'll tell you what, I get up the next day and I take the next step. And I think that's all that God asks for us. He will not give you more than you can. I mean, it's kind of trite and it's been overused, but he will not give you more than you can handle. Just take the next step.